What if I told you that Squid Game isn't just a show? That behind the games, the bloodshed, the desperation lies something far darker. Something that might have actually happened. Today we're diving into a chilling story. A story of survival, exploitation, and whispered truths. What if Squid Game is closer to reality than we ever imagined? When Squid Game took the world by storm, it felt almost too real. The brutal games, the desperation for money, it struck a chord. But for some, it brought back memories of an even darker past. Let me take you to South Korea, decades ago, where a place called the Brothers' Home existed. This was supposed to be a shelter for the homeless, but instead, its walls, thousands of people, many of them children, were forced to live like prisoners, beaten, abused, and enslaved. They worked day and night with no escape. One survival, Han Jong's son, was only 13 when he was taken.
And accused of stealing a piece of bread that was in his bag.
학교에서 주는 거를 먹다 남은 거 가방에 넣어놨다라고 하니까 거짓말하지 마 하더만은 그때부터 다그치기 시작하고 폭력을 하였죠.
But he says the officer didn't stop there.
He remembers being dragged off the streets and thrown into a nightmare.
엉덩이 패고 막 발가락질하고 주먹을 패는 거야.
사람 맞아 죽는 것도 나는 신입소대에서.
He said we were treated like animals, beaten for the smallest mistakes. Death was everywhere. Does that sound like fiction to you? Stories like the Brothers' Home make us wonder, could games like Squid Game actually exist? Could underground competition, where the desperate fight for survival, be real? The resemblance to the masked guards in Squid Game is chilling. Here's what's even more disturbing. In the late 1990s, there was reports of people drowning in debt being approached by strangers with promises of easy money. They were offered a chance to clear their debts, but they were never seen again.
Thousands were enslaved, raped, brutally bashed, and even killed.
And the VIPs, the rich, masked billionaires in Squid Game? History has shown us that the wealthy often exploit the poor for their entertainment. Gambling rings, human trafficking, secret competitions. Could this be another dark example? Hwang Dong-kyung, the man behind Squid Game, has said the series was inspired by his own struggles. He wrote the script when he was broke, drowning in debt, and questioning the system that kept him there. But here's the question. Could he have heard whispers of these underground horrors? Could the stories of places like the Brothers' Home have inspired him? Imagine living in a world where the powerful prey on the powerless, where survival isn't guaranteed. That's what Squid Game is really about. And Hwang's story makes it clear. This isn't just a game. It's a warning. Let me take you back to Han Jong's son, the boy who survived the Brothers' Home. He remembers working until his hands bled, being beaten for refusing orders, and watching people around him die. He said, "I thought I'd never leave, that this was my life, but I escaped. And now I tell my story so no one forgets." His words haunt me, because while he survived, thousands didn't. For them, there was no prize, no freedom. Stories like Han's remind us that exploitation isn't fiction. It's real and it's happening even today. So what does all this mean? Squid Game isn't just a show. It's a mirror, a reflection of how society treats its most vulnerable. It forces us to ask, how much of this is real? How many of us are already playing a game we didn't choose? The line between fiction and reality is thinner than we think. And sometimes the scariest stories aren't made up. They're based on the world we live in. Han's story reminds us of the strength it takes to survive, but it also reminds us of the dangers of silence. How many stories like his remain hidden? How many people are still suffering unnoticed in the shadows? Squid Game is a powerful warning, a message about greed, power, and survival. The question is, are we paying attention? Or will we, too, become players in a game we cannot win?